guys. Welcome to the 5th episode. I'm so proud of myself to say 5th episode and the last episode for this year. Not the last episode for this season, but the last for this year, 2021. Welcome. I'm so glad for this, milestone. To be honest, you have no idea how grateful I am to be doing this. Right. So today I'll be speaking and we'll discuss about assertiveness. I'm saying discuss like it's like a forum or something, and but yeah, I can say discuss because you can drop your comments, and share your feedback, which I'll see, of course, about this episode. This time around, I'll be trying something different. I'll start the podcast by reading the journal first, and then having like a bant, a discussion at the end, to see how the flows goes, and what's more interesting to do over time, either to read in the beginning, in the middle, or at the end. We'll try everything, trust me. And yeah, we would work with what works for us. So let's dive right into it. Assertiveness. Being assertive, a word and action I will have to learn to inculcate into my life going forward from now into 2022 and beyond. For someone who doesn't like confrontations because it's uncomfortable, it makes me what's the word I wrote here? Sorry for disrupting. It makes me sick into my stomach. Yes, that's right. And brings this flush of emotions that is hard for me to sit with. You can imagine now realizing that my energy, my peace of mind is sitting on a thin line of me speaking up when I should, defending myself when my boundaries are crossed, advocating for myself when no one else would, and taking up space would be an ultimate chore, task, mountain, so high to climb, or whatever you can imagine that it is difficult for you, double it. That's how it makes me feel when it comes to being assertive. I remember a post on IG where someone said he spoke to his therapist about keeping the peace around him, and his therapist said, well, that's good to do, so how about keeping the peace within you? How do you then keep that? He said, ever since that day, he has been speaking his mind. Well, I can resonate with this guy, to be honest. Over the years, I've come across as an individual who would let things slide, who would, have the right ideas but wouldn't share it because of the thought of what or how it to be portrayed, and I was always leaving it for the other person who were a persona that was perceived as being smarter, even though I knew so well that my input would be counted. I was the person portrayed as easygoing when in the exact truth I had so much to say, and I would second guess myself if I would be embarrassed or apprehended for speaking my mind. I remember a decade ago, a friend and I visited a hangout with a group of friends we were invited over, and everyone was making a toast, and an idea popped into my head, and for some reason I didn't share this idea. I ignored it. Later that night, I shared this idea with my friend, and to my surprise, the response I got was, Why didn't you share it? That was really good, It would have been appreciated, especially with the fact that it was like a farewell / end of the year get together. Can you imagine? This thought, this conversation haunted me, still haunts me till today. Well, it's been 10 years now and it made it to my podcast. Can you imagine? I'm so sure my friend doesn't remember this conversation anymore. But I do. And this is one among so many others that I have let slide over the years, where I have eaten versions of myself because I wasn't sure of being myself, of being my true self, or thinking that my true self will be accepted as a whole. And this has spilled into being assertive, saying the things I want, the things I need, and the things I stand by, and sticking to them unapologetically. What I've realized today is that if you do so, one thing I've come to realize today is that if you do it, if you're damned. If you don't do it, you are even more damned. The uncomfortable feeling I used to try to avoid by not being assertive, I still, feel double of this uncomfortable feeling. So what's the point of not being assertive anyway? One thing is certain for sure, to be honest. The uncomfortable feeling you feel after being assertive doesn't last long. It comes with peace of mind after the discomfort, which doesn't occur when you keep quiet to keep the peace outside of you. You can be assertive and polite. You can be assertive and gentle. You can speak up with the highest level of grace and poise and still pass your message across. Your being will continuously thank you for it. If there's anything to remember, to continue living is to continue learning. We all have our strengths where we are naturally good at, and so do we have areas that we need to tender, love, care, and attention to. As we walk into 2020, as I walk into 2020, I choose to continue being assertive among other goals lined up for me to achieve. XOXO. Do they still say that? Like, do they still say XOXO? Because I actually wrote it that right. I actually wrote XOXO at the end of this journaling. Is it journaling session? The journaling episode? Journaling, notes? Yeah. Yeah, I'm always putting something cheesy at the end of each note I write. Yeah, and sometimes it's the love emojis, that art shapes I draw and stuff. Right, that was the beautiful piece from my journal today, and it's packed, I would say. So let's go from the bottom to the top. What I was expressing here is that from the bottom, as I said, is that we do have different strengths. Nobody came to this world perfect. Like, we have strengths and weaknesses, and for me, it is to harness my assertiveness skills. I have a lot of things lined up for the new year coming, and this is going to be the top of it that would now, spill over, transit into other things, because there's always going to be interactions every day, and you need to be able to communicate in the right mature advanced, what other word can I use here? I'm thinking so hard to get the right word. Professional, and I think that's it. To be able to say the right things at the right time. Very, very important. And this is one skill I would love to add to my number of skills that I have had, I still do have in the past, and still do have now. Right. I'm talking about uncomfortable feelings. Oh boy. That thing you feel when you think the right thing to do is keep quiet. Ish. I know it. I know it. It's not. I know it to heart. I've sat with it for years. Trust me, I can give you a download of what that feels like. It's not a good feeling. But then you ask yourself, why would you choose to feel uncomfortable, to keep, to not to speak up, when you can actually speak up and then problems are being solved? Why? Yeah, that's a whole pod to talk about why we are wired the way we are wired. That's another podcast on its own. You get what I mean? But why would someone be comfortable to sit with the discomfort of not speaking up when you can actually speak up and face the uncomfortable conversation? You know why? I know why. Because in your subconscious mind, you think the discomfort of speaking up is higher than the discomfort of keeping quiet. And I can tell you for a fact that's a lie. But the human body, the human brain, you as a person would choose what feels safe. So if your system feels it's safer to keep quiet, which is not, it will choose that option. But thank God for growth. We can always, grow into better versions of ourselves daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. Now, let me tell you about this story. The story I spoke about in the journal. So, like a decade ago, I was in my final year of my bachelor's, my first degree. I had a friend then who was already working, so their colleagues had a party and we were invited, and everybody was speaking about good things about each other, and the person who was leaving the company by the end of the year into another job, another new role. And an idea came into my mind that, I remember the first time I met this person, I had this perception, and then just speaking to this person, it blossomed into a very nice, conversation. We now became friends, and for some reason, I didn't stand up to speak. I didn't stand up to speak about how wonderful this person was, and so many, encounters, maybe when we went to go buy food together, and also other people I got to meet through them. I felt like everybody had said so many things, what would my own input, what difference would it make? 6, 7, 8 people had been speaking, and I'm not really I was invited, and I wasn't like a colleague or something, but I've had a relationship, an encounter with this person, and we are friends. So I'm like, I just let this, I just let that idea, I just let it slide. I let so many amazing ideas slide over this period of time. And then my friend and I, we got home, and I'm like, you know what? This idea came to my mind. I wanted to say this about this person. And my friend said, I didn't even know that. Like, I didn't even know you and this person had that encounter, that you guys bantered to that level and, had a good friendship. Like, a friend said, why didn't you talk? Why didn't you say this? This would have been so much appreciated. Like, it hurt my friend so bad. It hurt my friend. I'm like, to me, I was like, it's just an idea, it's not a big deal. I kid you not. We are like what? We're in the end of 2021. And this conversation has haunted me for a whole decade. I promise I'm going to let it rest this time. I won't let it get into the next year because 10 years ago would be what year? 2011? Yes, 2011. So I think this is like 11 years. It was like 2010-ish. Yes, it was 2010. I remember. And anytime over some years now, anytime I want to let an idea slide, I use that one as a reminder. I tell myself, no, we're not doing this. I can't let another 10 years slide again for me to start having an idea that I let slide onto me. No. I'll use this one. This is now an example of me not letting ideas slide. Whether it's in business, whether it's at work, whether it's in friendship, relationships, everything. Now I be speaking my mind. I don't know what English I just spoke, but I be speaking my mind. I have an idea. I run through it. Is it the right time to say it? Is it the right audience? I edit it, the right way, and I speak. One thing I've come to realize is that giving your ideas, speaking your ideas into life, speaking them out into life, does not necessarily mean it has to be accepted. But you're honoring your idea by speaking it into existence. You honor that idea. If it's picked, if it's acknowledged, if it's taken into use, it doesn't matter. It's not about who or what or how it's being used. It's the fact that you brought it to life. It might not be useful now. You never know who listened, and it might be useful for maybe in the next 10 years. I know we are drifting away from assertiveness, but they are really interwoven, right? You never know. The same way so many people have shared ideas that I have listened to, I might not have, taken account of them immediately, but I sure did in the future. That I know for sure. And those people who shared these things don't even remember sharing it. That's the way it works, So over the years, I speak up, I share my ideas, but this event or more than a decade ago is what I hold on to and tell myself, if you don't want this idea to haunt you for the next decade in the future, bring it to life. Bring it to life, my dear. Bring it to life. Yes, so that's about the story, I would say. And then talking about the beginning of the journal where I spoke about being assertive. For me to be able to journal about this, it must have been there must have been an event that had to push me into I needed a push, and an event was the push. Yes, like I said, it was an event, an encounter, an event that related to a friend that needed me to be very assertive. I mean, very, very assertive. Knowing so well that avoiding things or using avoidance is not a good mechanism. That could be called a coping mechanism, right? avoidance and assertiveness, they don't go hand in hand. So an event, birthed this journaling journey of me being more aware. Not that I'm not assertive, but it's good to be assertive in all relationships, not only in one relationship, like maybe not only in work environment, not only in, it should be in every relationship that makes a human being, work. Right. And it's beautiful to know that we live to learn every day. Who knows, tomorrow it will be something else to work with and to improve and to expand and to explore. That's the part for today and for this year. Next week is going to be 2022, and I'm looking so forward to it. We're going to have a guest speaker on the next episode. You don't want to miss it. She's such an amazing person, and I can't wait for you to meet her. I hope you do enjoy the few days left in 2021. Do some detox, cleansing, reflecting, re-energizing, and above all, be grateful. Be grateful to be here, because when you're alive and you have hope, then every other thing has a chance to fall into place. See you in 2022. Mwah.